Hello and welcome to Offsides, BUTV10's only professional sports talk show. I'm Haley Alvarez-Lauto.
And I'm Lex Gargiulo. To kick things off, our host Daniel Moltz will speak with analysts Alexa Podalsky and Bobby Serafin about the updates of the MLB Lockout.
Then Monet and Tyler Carroll will recap the NHL trade deadline.
And analyst J Housman will discuss the NFL's crazy QB carousel this offseason.
All this and more, Offsides starts right now.
Baseball is back. Those words sound so good to say. With opening day set for April 7th, teams are making mad dashes to set their rosters during this shortened spring training so that they're locked and loaded for the next 162. Bobby Serafin and Alexa Podalsky are here with me to talk about all things post-lockout. Alexa, let's start with you. Take us through some of the key issues resolved in the new collective bargaining agreement.
After 99 days, the owners and team signed a new collective bargaining agreement that will last until the end of 2026. The minimum salary will increase to nearly $800,000 over the next 5 seasons. The competitive balance tax will go up, giving teams more room to spend, and teams tanking as a strategy to get better draft picks will be a thing of the past, with a draft lottery for the top 6 picks coming in 2023. Additionally, the playoffs will expand to 12 teams. The universal designated hitter is finally here, and starting in 2023, teams can no longer shift against opposing hitters. These moves all benefit the players since they now have more money in their pockets and more control in contract negotiations. And fans can now be rest assured that there is more integrity in the sport.
Definitely glad to hear that over the last 3 months, the two sides were able to come to some kinds of sound compromises so that they can get back to work. And Bobby, speaking of getting back to work, a lot of teams hit the trading block right away to try to fix their rosters. What deal stood out the most to you?
When it comes to some of the big post-lockout moves, the LA Dodgers stole the show again, bringing in California native and world champion first baseman Freddie Freeman on a 6-year, $162 million deal. This is a great move for the Dodgers in the short term, but I'm not sure if the longtime Atlanta Brave can keep up his all-star caliber play until age 38. Since Atlanta couldn't come to a deal with Freeman, they decided to go out and trade for Oakland A's first baseman Matt Olson, who brings the same power hitting and elite fielding as Freeman. Olson played high school baseball in Lilburn, Georgia, so it's a homecoming for both guys. Another trade that made front page headlines was a deal between the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. The Bronx Bombers sent polarizing catcher Gary Sanchez to the Twins, along with third baseman Gio Urshela. Going back to New York is former AL MVP Josh Donaldson, versatile infielder Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and catcher Ben Rortvedt. The move certainly helps the Yankees' defense, a key issue for them in 2021. But this deal also allowed the Twins to free up enough payroll to sign shortstop Carlos Correa, who was this year's premier free agent. The #1 overall pick from 2012 is now the most expensive Twin of all time in terms of average annual salary, and now the most expensive infielder in all of baseball.
You know, Bobby, it really seems like for the first time in his entire tenure as general manager, and at about 20 years overall, Yankees GM Brian Cashman and the Yankees got beat by the Twins in that deal. Now, when it comes to free agents themselves on the move, signing with new places, Alexa, which players do you think most help out their new clubs by signing with them?
While there were plenty of moves over the last few weeks, the Twins' decision to sign Carlos Correa was exactly the move they needed to bolster their roster. The Twins struggled last season, finishing last in the AL Central, so bringing in the best free agent on the market can definitely help them cause trouble for opposing pitchers next season. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are on track to possibly have the best offense in baseball, with the addition of Freddie Freeman to a team that already has Mookie Betts and Trey Turner. After losing Corey Seager to the Rangers, the decision to sign Freeman was a great move to put the team at the top of the NL West. As for the Red Sox, the addition of Trevor Story, another slugger with great speed and defense, to an already loaded lineup with Devers, Bogarts, and JD Martinez, and more, is a big step in the right direction after what was a disappointing end to their season.
Yeah, without a doubt, all of those teams adding big-time sluggers, and as if their lineups, especially those three, Twins, Dodgers, Red Sox, needed to get any scarier. Now, lastly, Bobby, let's stay in the AL East and talk about that because all these teams seem to have made moves. Talk about just how loaded this division is and who you think is going to come out on top when the season's over.
Well, Dan, while the Rays have won the division the last 2 years and always seem to maximize their talent, I think the division goes to the Blue Jays. There's talent up and down this lineup that's now centered around Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. The return of George Springer in center field should be huge and give this team some more veteran leadership. On the mound, despite losing AL Cy Young winner Robbie Ray, the Jays replaced him by signing Kevin Gausman, and they expect growth from young pitchers like Alek Manoah, who had a 9-2 record with a rock-solid 3.22 ERA. While the Red Sox lineup is loaded and the Yankees still have some firepower on the mound and in their lineup, I think it's time that the young Blue Jays take flight to the top of the AL East.
You know, Bobby, it's really crazy how stacked that division is with feasibly 4 teams that could each win that division. It's like the AFC West of Major League Baseball. It's absolutely crazy. And now, before we move on here, I'll just add this. The league coming back just in the nick of time is a greater miracle than anyone realizes. Fans were ready to cancel TV subscriptions, stop going to games, and treat this league with the same absence it gave everyone else for the last 3 months. They'll manage to play a full 162 with a lot of positive changes coming this season or next. Somehow, they got it all done, and we can all get excited for the 2022 season. Now let's send it over to Monet Oda and Tyler Carroll for a deep dive into the 2022 NHL trade deadline. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Dan. Now, let's talk about the 2022 NHL trade deadline. Tyler Carroll and I are here to break down key moves made by various buyers and sellers, with almost every team making moves to better their chances in the short or long term. The Anaheim Ducks were busy on Pat Verbeek's first trade deadline day as general manager, shipping defenseman Hampus Lindholm to the Bruins and forward Rickard Rakell to Pittsburgh. Combined, they received a first-round pick, 3 second-round picks, as well as 5 roster players and prospects. Between these moves and others, the Ducks have officially recognized in this new Verbeek era that they aren't ready to compete yet, but this year's deadline day jump-started the rebuild and cleared cap space for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, Monet, you have to commend the Ducks for making a plan and sticking with it. I like the return for all their trades, but don't discount the impact that Lindholm will have in Boston or Rakell with Pittsburgh. Hampus Lindholm will likely man the first blue line with BU alum Charlie McAvoy, while Rakell will get the chance to skate alongside the best center of his career in either Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, possibly filling in on the power play too. If the Bruins or Penguins go far in the playoffs this year, many will credit these moves with their team's success.
Another Cup favorite added scoring depth at the deadline. The Florida Panthers traded Owen Tippett and 2 high draft picks to the Philadelphia Flyers for All-Star forward Claude Giroux. Giroux, the captain of 9 years, has 900 points in 1,000 career games and will slot in with Sasha Barkov on the Panthers' first line. Keep an eye out for Giroux to be rejuvenated by a change of scenery and tear it up with an actual contender.
Yeah, you know, it seems that the rich only get richer down there in Florida. Tampa Bay traded 2 first-round picks and 2 players to the Chicago Blackhawks for forward Brandon Hagel and 2 fourth-rounders. I like this trade for both teams. I mean, between this and the trade moving Fleury to Minnesota, the Blackhawks added a ton of draft capital to help them look for the next Kane and Taves. Meanwhile, the perennial Cup favorite Tampa Bay Lightning add yet another piece of depth scoring to an already potent offense.
I agree. And it wouldn't be a deadline day without headlines out of Toronto. Last season, the Leafs prioritized offense at the deadline, but still fell short in the playoffs. This time around, general manager Kyle Dubas focused on defense, trading 2 seconds and a third for Seattle Kraken captain Mark Giordano. This move reunites the 37-year-old veteran with TJ Brodie, his defensive line mate, for most of his tenure in Calgary, including Giordano's Norris winning season in 2019. Toronto desperately needed to shore up the blue line, and Leafs Nation hopes Giordano can do just that.
Yeah, Maple Leafs always trying to hog the attention. This year's deadline certainly shook some things up in terms of playoff hopes and team strength. After the dust settles, Monet, with 20 games left, which team do you think has the best shot at winning the Cup this year?
I've got to go with the Florida Panthers. As I mentioned, they made a big move at the deadline by adding more scoring depth with Claude Giroux to complement their offensive weapons like Jonathan Huberdeau and Barkov. Especially if Aaron Ekblad is back in time for the playoffs, there aren't many teams who could go 7 games with the Panthers.
Predictions like this usually make fools out of people, Monet, but I think the Carolina Hurricanes are in the best shape to win at this point. Frederick Anderson and the defense have been lights out to this point, and they added Max Domi to an already fast young offense at the deadline. This has been the Offsides NHL trade deadline breakdown. Now over to Jay for NFL offseason quarterback coverage.
Thanks, Tyler. Since Super Bowl 56, star and veteran quarterbacks seem to be on the move every single day. One player who isn't moving on is Aaron Rodgers, who re-signed with the Packers, which makes us wonder what will happen to Jordan Love. They drafted him to be Rodgers' replacement, but there's no way he suits up for them now. Rodgers might be back, but Davante Adams won't be. He refused to accept the franchise tag again, and Green Bay didn't offer him a good enough deal. Instead, the Packers dealt him to Las Vegas for 2 draft picks, and Vegas immediately gave Davante Adams a $140 million contract. The Raiders' offense just got an elite upgrade, and they needed it. Over in Denver, the Broncos acquired Russell Wilson from Seattle after Wilson spent 9 seasons there. With Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Justin Herbert in the same division, watch out for the AFC West next season. After not being indicted on the many sexual misconduct allegations against him, Deshaun Watson is heading from Houston to the Cleveland Browns for the 3 of the first-round picks and more. Cleveland then signed him to a record-breaking, fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract, which is a surprise since now everyone wants to know where Baker Mayfield will end up. Carson Wentz will be rejoining the NFC East, but not as an Eagle, instead as a Washington Commander, which may not turn out well given Wentz's injury and consistency concerns over the last few years. Matt Ryan, who played for the Falcons since 2008, is up to the Indianapolis Colts and will be the 4th quarterback since Andrew Luck retired, following Wentz, Philip Rivers, and Jacoby Brissett. Hopefully Ryan will be successful in Indianapolis, but the AFC is more loaded than ever, folks, and the Colts need him to playing like an MVP level if they want to get back to the playoffs. Lastly, after a short retirement from football, Tom Brady changed his mind and is coming back for a 23rd season. That's right, a 23rd season. This sent shockwaves out to the sports fans with some thrilled and some furious. But the question of us are wondering, can he still continue to play as well? We will wait to see if his decision to return to pro football was the right move. Haley and Lex, back to you.
Thanks, Jay. That's all we have for this episode of Offsides. If you're interested in joining our team, please email us at offsides@butv10.com.
Also be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Offsides10.
On behalf of our entire cast and crew, thanks for watching and have a great night.